Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, welcome to our second session of the project between Human Rights Institute and Reform. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lidia Kokavcová. Originally, I'm a journalist. Now I'm working as a consultant for Human Rights Institute here in Slovakia. And after my dear colleague and director of the Human Rights Institute in Slovakia, Peter Weisenbacher, who was hosting the first event, I will be hosting this one. This is our second session in project called Strengthening Bilateral Relation between Reform and Human Rights Institute. The project is supported by the Norwegian grants and the Slovak government. And just a small disclaimer, everything published during this session reflects the opinion of the speakers and Human Rights Institute exclusively. Neither of the Norwegian funds nor the Slovak government are responsible for the content of the project. Still, we are grateful for the support. So now it is my pleasure to welcome here our two dear speakers, Mali Sturbecken. Okay, hello. Hello, Mali.
Hello.
And the second one is Berit Egebø Nas.
Hello, Lydia.
Hello, Berit. Both of them are advisors at Reform. And I'm really looking forward to host this topic because this topic is named family politics. So please, who will start, Mali or Berit?
We'll start. Thank you for the introduction.
Okay.
This is good. So I believe most of you guys watched the previous session with Are, our leader. So as you said, today we're going to talk about family politics or policies in Norway, and also how we in Reform are working on those. So I would like to take a little introduction. My name is Berit Egebø Nas. I'm educated as a physiotherapist, actually, with a master's degree in mental health work. And my topic of my master thesis was men that were victims of violence in close relations with minority background. So that's how I started working in the Reform. Yes, then Mali?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree in gender studies and a master's degree in applied social work. And I've written mostly about prostitution, and that's also my way into Reform.
Yeah. But today we're going to talk about family policies and politics in Norway, and we both work on projects. Our project leaders in some of Reform's projects on this topic. But I would like to take you through a little bit of history introduction to this, what we call the fatherhood revolution, because in the 1990s we observed a shift in men's attitudes towards fatherhood in Norway. The previously absent and authoritarian paternal role was replaced by emotional present fathers who wanted to be more involved in their children's lives. Many fathers decide to be more than just a source of income for the family. This was not a uniquely Norwegian phenomenon, but there were aspects of Norwegian society that facilitated it and coincided with various arrangements and political decisions that allowed fathers to contribute more to family life than before. So these changes did not, as I said, happen in a vacuum. Norwegian family policies have been aimed at gender equality in both work and care for a long time. It starts with the premise that family has two caregivers and also two breadwinners in Norwegian economy, and facilitates this, ensuring both the mother's right to work and the father's right to caregiving. In the 1990s, this was reflected in longer maternity leaves, more daycare spots and paternity leave. So we introduced paternity leave in 1993, becoming the first country in the world to do so. The goal of paternity leave was twofold: get mothers back to work and fathers into caring roles at home. The system is based on the premise that fathers' care for their children is important for both the child and the father. And as a mother myself, I would definitely also say as a working mother. In 2021, about 62% of fathers in Norway took out the full paternity leave or more from the parental leave quota. The results are evident today. It's now natural for men to care for children and publicly show their care and affection for children. An example of this is seeing men pushing strollers. More children have shared homes after relationship breakups, whereas earlier you could only see that children lived with their mother after divorce or after breakups. Yeah.
So we see that both expectations and structures related to both men and fathers have changed significantly over the past decades. But however, we still see some barriers preventing fathers from being recognized as equally capable caregivers as mothers. And here I would like to draw kind of a parallel to the women's liberation movement, where we put in considerable efforts to address the structures that limit women and girls. And we have not done the same thing when it comes to men. And this is where reform work comes into the picture. Because if you see on the screen, there's a selection of our project where the focus is on fathers and men as caregivers. So I'm gonna say a quick, have some quick words about the first two, and then we're gonna delve a bit deeper into the remaining four of these. Firstly, we have a website project called Active Fatherhood. And this is kind of a toolbox aimed at young men who are or will become fathers. And the purpose here is to give them information about the significance of active fatherhood and encourage fathers to use their paternity leave. And you will also find good reasons to why you should use your parental leave and information about the rights you have as a father. The second project involves working with fathers who have children in the child welfare system. And this is based on the fact that Reform has received calls from fathers with children in child welfare for several decades. And often these men express feelings about being unsure about themselves as fathers, and they also tend to view themselves as secondary parents. So we decided to conduct these types of courses with the fathers who have children in the child welfare system, with a goal to boost their confidence as fathers and also their competence. And we also wanted to give them knowledge and tools to have a better communication and collaboration with the child welfare system. And after this project was completed, we came across a doctoral thesis from Norway that revealed that it was not only the father's responsibility when it came to involvement in these child welfare system cases. Because in this study, they found that in certain parts of the child welfare system, fathers are not prioritized. And often they are also excluded from the discussions about potential solutions. So then we started a new project called Fathers, an e-learning course for child welfare professionals. So we collaborated with the researcher who wrote the PhD, and we made an e-learning course for child welfare professionals and for students. And then here we give them insights into the basics of gender and gender equality, the significance of fatherhood, specific laws and rights for fathers and children, research on attitudes and reflections in the child welfare systems when it comes to fathers, good communication strategies when you're meeting fathers and also mothers, and also fathers' stories of how they encounter the child welfare system. And at the end of the course, we give advice and specific measures for inclusion of fathers. Additionally to this e-learning course, we also conduct workshops for child welfare professionals and for students. Over the past 5 years, we've been around all of Norway delivering courses on this topic. And during this time, we have, I would say we have observed a significant improvement on how fathers are approached and also the attitudes prevailing among those working in child welfare. So I see that many more are now much more interested in actively including fathers and using them as a resource compared to what we saw in earlier years. So as you might see that a common thread in all our fatherhood projects is the desire to portray fatherhood as a positive resource. And still we see that many fathers are a bit confused because they are expected to take on a caregiving role, but when dealing with the system, they often feel marginalized. And we're going to show an example of these confusing expectations from a project called From Daddy to Daddy to illustrate how these conflicting expectations are experienced. And the video, it's specifically designed to be shown in maternity wards in Norwegian hospitals. And the idea for the film stemmed from the understanding that mothers, they receive a lot of information during pregnancy and also in the maternity ward. But fathers don't get any information, basically. And mothers get an information movie in the maternity ward about breastfeeding.
Yes.
So we thought we wanted to make a video for fathers to watch. And I got to give all the credits to Ina, because she's the head for this project. You're going to play a snip of this video. Okay. Just give me a word if the sound is off. Okay.
Okay.
Ja, vil du starte?
Overveldende. Alt veldig nytt, og alt veldig mye. Som med alt annet man tror kanskje man forberedt, og så man egentlig ikke. Det første blikket, det første lille hånda som klemmer på rundt fingeren din. Litt sånn overveldende, kanskje?
Ja, samtidig den stoltheten da.
Ja, det her har jeg fått til. Ja, og stolthet over kona, ikke minst. Ja. Og litt redd. Hva skjer nå? Hva kommer nå? Jeg følte på det at jeg synes de hadde såpass liten tid til kona egentlig, at da skulle i hvert fall ikke jeg ta den tida de hadde til henne. Ja. Jeg skal ikke si at man føler seg uvelkommen av noen, men det liksom av og til liksom, sorry at jeg her, jeg skal bare stå og stille meg en krok også. Veldig mye kommunikasjon foregår kun til mor. Ja. Og så prøvde jeg å tenke sånn, ok, selvfølgelig går det mest til mor, det hun skal gjennom en fødsel, men samtidig så vet jeg altså, i den tilstanden hun så det ikke alt hun får med seg. Ja.
Jeg tror det viktig kanskje for en nybakt far å være tydelig på, ikke at ikke vi var det, men at du har rettigheter, du har krav på å få ting forklart, og ikke minst når du trenger hjelp, så trenger du hjelp. Og jeg tror at det like greit å bare starte med en gang som far og være tydelig på hva mine behov som far Det egentlig et godt spørsmål, fordi det jo veldig mange som kanskje har opplevd at de har klart seg greit uten. Sikkert flere fra den siden enn uten en mor, bare fordi det har vært mer vanlig. Men for min del, som har vært veldig heldig med en... Ja, du enig. Veldig heldig med en tilstedeværende og aktiv far, så var det ikke noe tvil om at når det var min tur, at jeg skulle også være minst like delaktig. Jo mer du bidrar i starten, jo bedre forhold får du til barnet ditt uansett.
Fordi far har jo en konkret, jeg vil ikke kalle det jobb, men har jo en rolle som viktig. Klart, den blir kanskje enda tydeligere senere, men far trengs jo definitivt også for de praktiske tingene i starten. Og far jo en støtte for mor på mange måter.
Opp til et punkt så var det kun når de gråt, så ville de ha mamma. Masse lek med meg. Men her om dagen så var det falt og slo seg, og så ville at pappa skulle løfte. Og da begynner man å innse at ok, det jo kanskje ikke bare biologiske, det hvor mye du gjør det i utgangspunktet, og har gjort det før, som gjør at ok, han kan også trøste. Jeg har sett det før.
Å ha en farsfigur allerede tidlig i livet viktig. Ja, det vanskeligste med å bli far.
Nei, den litt sånn vanskelig å svare på, men det må jo være den der følelsen av å ikke strekke til, alltid.
Ja, du mister litt kontrollen over livet ditt.
Noe av det andre vanskeligste også det der med å faktisk spørre om hjelp, da. Den tror jeg sitter dypt for mange å si det at, ja, men vet du hva, nå må jeg faktisk nå trenger jeg å ha en dag eller en kveld eller bare noen timer, da. Og spørre de rundt seg, besteforeldre, tanter, onkler.
Ja, søsken, alt mulig. Det
jo ikke noe galt å spørre, egentlig.
Nei. Jeg skulle ønske at en annen far hadde sagt at det kommer til å gå bra. At det lov å være sliten nå, men de første ukene det vanskeligste.
Så tror jeg det har vært ålreit å liksom fortelle hvor viktig du egentlig i helheten. Det noe med å få høre at det du gjør spiller en så stor rolle for helheten, for både mor, barn og faktisk de rundt deg også, da.
Man skaper en familie, og det betyr at man en brikke som faktisk gjør sin viktige jobb i den sammenhengen.
Og du en del av noe større.
Jeg skulle nok på førstemann hatt en mye større forståelse av hvor viktig det at jeg der 100% fra minutt 1. Det var jeg veldig mye mer bevisst på med nummer 2. Men altså den altså hvor utrolig viktig det at man der og dedikert til partner og barn 100. Ja.
Det faktisk et veldig godt tips, for jeg tror kanskje noen fedre tenker at det ikke den første tida som min. Det kommer etter hvert. Men jeg tror jeg kan være ganske trygg på å si at du kommer ikke til å angre på å være ganske deltagende i starten.
Du kommer til å angre enormt på ikke være det.
Ja.
Yeah. From dad to dad. As you can see from the previous film, becoming a father is a great experience with its strains and joys. This is one of the reasons behind this next project I'm going to talk about, a gender-equal children's healthcare centre. Norwegian research show that many men find themselves unprepared for the emotional reactions and changes that comes with becoming a father, as we saw in this film. But father's health and well-being are rarely addressed in these children's health centres. The postpartum period is critical for new fathers in training and especially in transitioning into their role as a father. And they desire to be acknowledged as equal caregivers with their own needs for emotional support and information. They acknowledge that they cannot breastfeed but at the same time, they can do a lot more. Despite that men and women in Norwegian law have equal parental rights and responsibilities, research show that fathers perceive a gap between the equality society expects from them and the equality they encounter in the healthcare. They feel treated as a support person for the mother or as a subordinate to the mother in the caregiving role, but desire a more active and independent role in healthcare follow-ups. Mothers also want parenthood to be viewed as a joint project with the needs of both parents being addressed. So, this project. In this project, we collaborated with an expert in screening for postpartum depression, which is also a depression type that can affect fathers. And we also collaborated with the Children's Healthcare Center to develop a manual for healthcare consultations for fathers, screening their mental health. The overreaching goal of this intervention is to promote the health of non-birthing parents, because also women that were having children with other women in lesbian relationships also was included in this study. But how the non-birthing parent can also get help to provide support in the caregiving role for a newborn child. So we piloted these health consultations for 6 months, and this was our finding. The fathers suddenly expressed feeling included. They stated that they felt included in the offerings at the health care center. Important aspects included efforts to find suitable times for them to participate because they all had work schedules, and the active attempt by the public health nurse to involve them in the conversation. They also had got a valuable reflection on their parenting role. Many fathers shared that the health conversation provided them with a new experience they had not anticipated, offering an opportunity to reflect on the relational and emotional aspects of becoming a parent. They also, after the health consultation, fathers also reported experiencing a lower threshold for contacting their health care center if they had questions about their child's health and well-being. It also uncovered health challenges that might not otherwise have been uncovered. So one of the fathers actually reported that the mother had postpartum depression, and so she got help, but none of the men in our study had reported any mental health issues. So we saw that they could actually be important in resource for supporting mothers getting help for their postpartum depression as well. And this project also increased the awareness at the health center. The health center has become more conscious of the role and significance of father, extending beyond those who have undergone these health conversations, but also in other various contexts. So that's a good result. What can we say? Yeah. Yeah, an important barrier for men to be equal in their care for those their close relations in a traditional role is their traditional role as a breadwinner. The caregiving responsibilities and care burdens of men are often under-recognized in the workplace. Traditionally, many caregiving tasks in society have been assigned to women and carried out by women. These attitudes towards caring and expectations regarding who can and should engage in caregiving activities contribute to gender inequality. In this project, Men in Care, this is a 3-year European collaborative project. The goal was to facilitate greater male involvement in caregiving activities at home by addressing barriers many men encounter in their workplaces. The project concluded service in workplaces across 7 countries: Austria, Germany, Iceland, Norway, Poland, Slovenia, and Spain, and assessed how workplace culture and other factors can be modified to enable men to take more caregiving roles throughout their lives. As a part of this project, workshops and written guidelines for companies were developed to help them implement business policies that better support men as caregivers. These resources aim to create an environment where men have the space to contribute more to caring for themselves and their close relational life. So why care and facilitate for male carers? Well, making men's involvement in care easier can have positive effects on themselves and on people in the near social environment and organizations and the whole society. Employees with a better work-life balance are more satisfied with their life, have stronger family relationships, show a greater loyalty towards their organization, and develop more competencies. Yes. Men in care actions show ways to reduce gender inequalities in work-life balance policies and practices in order to improve the well-being of both women and men in the workplace. Yeah. So, why are we focused on men as caregivers, and why do we believe it's important to involve fathers? There are many compelling reasons. It's crucial for the family, the fathers, the mothers, and most importantly, for the children.
And if we look at it in a broader context, we see that countries in Europe with a high level of gender equality score, they will score well in terms of productivity and also welfare. And the level of gender equality also correlates strongly with well-being and quality of life in general. So a more gender equal family with a more present father will statistically have a better quality of life. And also gender equality and more present fathers is associated with a lower level of violence within families.
So, father's impact on the child and the child's impact on the father. Concerning children, boys with involved fathers often perform better academically, exhibit better psychosocial adaptation, and demonstrate better self-control. A child's adjustment is proven to be poorer with a present father during upbringing. Engaged fathers have more frequently learned to enhance cognitive and emotional abilities in children overall. Fathers themselves may experience positive personal development by caring for their own children. They may become more emotional, their empathy increases, they experience less stress, are less susceptible to alcohol-related illnesses, and have a lower suicide rate. Additionally, there are several health benefits from mothers who are generally less prone to depression, experience fewer back problems and headaches compared to their more traditionally positioned counterparts.
And I think it's important to note that this information may seem a bit heteronormative, which may partly be attributed to the research and the data available. But I think many of these findings can potentially be applied to to same-sex couples also, because our understanding is that it's maybe not the fathers inherently has some qualities that it's crucial for the children, but rather that the importance of having two close and caring figures during upbringing. And I would say that based on reforms and many others' experiences, there's often small measures that are sufficient to encourage fathers to increase their participation in the family. So if we're talking about the healthcare or other systems like the social welfare system, it can be as simple as expressing an expectation that the father are encouraged to participate, like mentioning the father's name in invitation.
Special invitation. Yeah. That's a little bit of what we do.
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was very, very interesting, I have to say, also for me. And now we can have some little discussion to your topics, if you allow to.
Sure.
Because you've mentioned one thing. On one side, fathers want to be acknowledged as fathers, but on the other side, they are confused by their fatherhood
Yes.
at the end. So how is it possible? Okay, I want to be involved as a father, but I'm afraid how they also describe their feelings. But what are your experiences? What are they afraid of the most? I mean, what do they fear?
Simply put, not being good enough.
Yeah.
I'm a secondary parent. I will never be as good as the mother.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of the systems in Norway and also people who give them this impression also.
Yeah. So we have this gap between jurisdiction, and we have equal responsibilities and rights as the parent, but we see that there's a gap in what they actually get in the public services. And so that's also part of what's confusing many fathers, because at home they take a lot of responsibility for the care for their children, but in other aspects they are not mentioned or not included. So that we see that as a gap between the law and how the systems are actually working.
Yeah, I'm just asking, because in sometimes some many years ago, father was father, and he never had problems to be a father, like in the pure sense of being father. There was, okay, I'm father, it's okay, But now everything is changing, and also the acknowledgement of the fatherhood is different.
Yes.
And as you've said very nicely at the beginning, it was changed from the authoritative fathers to the caring fathers. Perhaps this is the most the biggest change in the society.
It's important to note, and if you also saw the numbers of how many men took their father's quota, it's 62%. So there are also various reasons in Norwegian society that stopping fathers for not taking the full parental leave, for instance. But I think that we can almost say that some men are in a limbo between the more traditional way of being a father and what women expect when they get children, to be honest. Because
there's many conflicting expectations.
Definitely.
Okay, and if the fathers are already being advised how to be a father, do you teach them, or are they taught to be substitute for the woman, or just to be a father, let's say?
Not a substitute.
They can never be a substitute. But
okay.
My husband cannot breastfeed my baby, so we will not be equal in that sense.
Oh, yes.
But at the same time, the care for the child is both responsibility.
I think the caller in the video said it very nicely, that it's not too much like, okay, we have the breastfeeding, that's biological, but the rest is how much you are there and how much work you put into it.
Yeah.
And you are there from the beginning.
Yeah. Yes, and I think it's important to note that we're not trying to challenge biology. So we cannot do that. But research show that when you have two competent caregivers, you create a good environment for a child to grow up in. and by supporting fathers to be good fathers, and seeing their children and advising them in how to be a good father and care for your child in a gentle and nice way. You create the better fundament, also psychologically. Yeah.
And now, from the institutional point of view, or from the employer's point of view, are the employers willing to let the fathers the father leave, or do they support them in their father?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a very we can say yes and no. We see some,
obviously, yes.
We see some sectors where this is not really a question. Of course, they should have parental leave, but we see that in the with people that run their own businesses, and in some areas of very male dominated,
like finance,
and yeah, where you have a very big pay gap between the woman and the man.
Yes.
You see that less men take out their paternal quota. Yeah, definitely.
And also there's something about like the work culture, because nobody's going to question if I take out my maternity leave. But some work cultures will question if a male employee wants to use his right as a diet.
Yeah.
And not like, maybe not say it out loud, because I think that's illegal.
Yeah, it is.
But give these signals to the employee in other ways. And that's why I think men in care is so important, because we have to attack this problem with gender equality or inequality from all the sides.
Especially the cultural aspect. Because I think that that's why we have this father's quota, that's 15 weeks, and we are quite keen to keep it that way, because we see that companies to make men have a longer paternity leave, it's difficult. But this 15-week paternal leave, that's for the father, they have the right to have it. They will lose money. The family will lose this kind of support for these 15 weeks if the man or the father does not take it.
So it's 15 weeks, and how much is he paid? The full salary?
Full salary. In Norway, we have a year full salary. So we can, and it's divided into three
parts. So one for the mother.
One for the mother, one you can share, and one for the father. So for the third part where you can share, you can actually decide whether the mother and the father should share it 50-50. So
And now I will ask from the opposite side: how do the women react on these on these moves in the society, on the preparing fathers to be fathers? So because sometimes women react, sometimes in Slovakia, not this is my part, and please go away, this is so my child, or something like this, it's very similar to this. So how do women react?
Well, it differs, of course.
Yes.
But we had the parental or the leave for the fathers for such a long time that I think it changed the culture in some sense. That both women and men see that more natural, that they divide the caregiving work. For some.
But not for all. Of course we have women with the traditional values in Norway as well. That's Norway. We have a big diversity in this, to be honest. But many Norwegian women take higher education, and they are expected they want to work. They want to have they want to go back to work as well.
Yeah.
And as a working woman with a small child at home, you also get some benefits. For instance, the first year you get 1 hour off in your work time to breastfeed your child, and it's up to your employer to facilitate this for its workers. So the system or the laws are kind of designed for this to breadwinner and to carer model, and we see that in those families that both do not work, the economy is often bad unless one part is earning a lot of money. So yeah.
And are there any other suggestions from the society to support the fathers? Because the family policy in Norway is on a high level, let's say. So yeah. I mean, also in the meaning of equality, like father, mother, and so on. Are there any new suggestions how the fathers should be supported even more?
Well, there are, like all of our projects, we have a hope that this will be implemented on a national level.
Yes.
Like the likestilt helsestasjon.
Yeah, the equality, a gender equal children's health care center is one of these projects that we hope will make a national change.
Yeah.
Because father's mental health affects children, and we know that untreated mental illness in parents affects children's mental development, and a good, as we say in Norway, a good childhood lasts the whole life. So by making by screening for mental health issues in both parents, it will enable the healthcare system to support families where you have trouble or a mental illness or other risk factors for poverty or for violence or for yeah.
And I got to note that the fatherhood came in a period where they reduced the quota for the fathers to
12.
Yeah.
And now I will touch a sensitive question like divorce, because almost half of the marriages in Slovakia are being divorced. You know, it's the percentage is something like 48% or something like that. And there are still also many people who do not marry at all. But still, during the divorce, how is it? Because the parents are struggling for children. Everybody wants to have child in her or his household. So how is it? How the courts are deciding? Because this is the complaints of Slovak men that the children are going to mothers. So how is it in Norway now in the legal battles, let's say?
We still see that the mothers in the judicial system often have an advantage. But the statistics for where the children live after divorce is the norm in Norway. It's more like shared house. They live with both their parents.
It's more and more common that Norwegian children stay both with their mom and dad
after breakup. So they have two homes. Yes.
So they
yes.
Okay. So they have
more children when they live with only one parent. more and more also live with their father, but they still, it's overweight with children that when they don't have a shared household or a shared housing, they stay with their mothers, but more and more they also stay with only fathers.
There is a mandatory mediation between parents who go through a divorce to get them to get to
an agreement about where the child should live because of this equal rights and then responsibility when it comes to caring for your child. Between men and women.
Okay, so you told that some of your politics or some of your ideas you would like to be implemented on the national level. Do you have any other supporters like partner NGOs or something who is also struggling for the same fatherhood rights or for the same rights? Are there more of you, let's say?
We are. There are more like interest organizations. Yes, but we are not an interest organization like that.
But
no, I'm just asking, because...
But there are definitely interest organizations, but we have a different
take on it.
Yes.
But I would say, because we are one of 4 gender equality centers in Norway, and I would say that the 3 others who work with a broader sense, not just gender equality, but equality on all levels. I would say that they would support our cause. More gender equal parenting.
They were just more specific on men's equality struggle.
And I have one more question. You've told that the fathers started to be more involved or to feel them like fathers. Sometimes like at the end of 20th century or something like...
In 1993, we got the parental paternity, and the early 90s.
Okay.
Had this father revolution. Yes.
Okay. And since that time, did the situation change in favor of the fathers also in their minds? Or just like from the legislative point of view?
Well, there's been a massive shift, I would say, both for the fathers themselves, how they view themselves, but also as a society as a whole. And how we now know how important the father is in the family, not just as a breadwinner, but as a caregiver.
Isn't it like this, that if they see each other, they are motivated, or because if some father is in the kindergarten, so maybe someone else sees him and so on. So it's just like example.
So we have good role model, and what we see now is that many of the children that grew up in the 90s now get children. So and they had good role models in their fathers who were more caring and participating in caring for them. So now we have this new generation with young men who have not experienced the other father models. So I would say it's definitely a development.
Because the education, I still think the education is one of the toughest tasks in the life.
And we also see that in social demographics here, that people with higher education take more paternal leave, and it's more it can also be related to both areas in Norway which is more emphasizing more on equality than others, and also within different aspects of the work life, or workforce.
And how does the system of kindergartens and kitas, how is it in English, and the nurse homes and so on, how does it help to the fathers? Because it's also important to have this system of education, of the early education.
I'm quite sure if I understand your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is because there are also fathers who are maybe on parental leave at home, but still their children are visiting the kindergarten or something. They are helping. No,
it is not like this. We start kindergarten after parental leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that Reform has been working a lot to get more men into kindergarten.
Yes, working in kindergartens. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any question from the viewers, Peter? Allow me to introduce. Here is
Hi,
Peter.
hi everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Peter. I'm Lydia's colleague, and I am helping on the technical part of this, and I am monitoring and collecting the questions from the audience. Many of the questions that have the viewers sent were already asked by Lydia, or were in part already answered in combination with different questions. So most of what was asked was already answered. There is, however, one theme that repeated itself, and this is something that we have very much a lively debate about in Slovakia. And to rephrase it a little bit is, how would you react, or how maybe did you react, or your organization did react some time ago when these initiatives and arguments were new to the assumption or to the view of a certain part of the public that is very conservative, that it is, and now I am not saying my opinions, I'm quoting here, that it is not in the nature of a man, of a real man, to do these things, and it is destroying the so-called natural order of things, and the children will not have proper role models and so on. How would you respond to such arguments or views when they are publicly stated? And obviously we know that they are mostly not realistic, but the questions are probably more about the strategy and the communication, how to tackle this kind of discussion.
First of all, I would say that we have to talk about masculinity when we talk about this. But there's 100 ways to be a real man.
Yeah.
And you can be a real man and still care for your child. I don't see how it could go against each other. To care for your child and still be a real man.
Yeah. That would be really weird.
Yeah.
Especially with this development in Norway, you would basically say that Norwegian men are not men. And I would definitely disagree.
Yeah.
I see your question, and it's a matter of values and how you look upon masculinity and femininity as well, I guess. I do not know how to answer your question in a very good way. We have very conservative meanings about this in parts of Norway, and I think that people are allowed their opinions on how to be a good part of be themselves or have the identity. But we have a lot of research that show that the empathy and men are good men are definitely able to show both empathy and good care. And we have a good data that states that it actually equality makes good welfare.
Benefits everyone.
Yeah,
and I would say that that's the best way to meet this type of.
You can look at the economy. You can look at the welfare system. You can look at the violence rate. You can look at the suicide rate. You can look at so many rates on social statistics that states that gender equality pays off in a positive way. Yeah.
If I may add, Peter, because in Slovakia it's very often connected also with money, because men are earning just more in average, like women, and they feel themselves being men, bringing money and being stronger and so on. So this is really like traditional view in Slovakia. So this is also the problem we are overcoming it here now. So it's connected, this connection with money and with earnings and so on.
And I think it's quite a burden to have like the sole responsibility to be the family breadwinner. I think we should lift up all the benefits of taking care of your own child. Because often we portray taking care of our children as some sort of burden.
Yeah.
But I would say that
it's maybe a joy.
Yeah.
It's maybe not 4 in the morning, but yes, but it's as we say in our presentation that it's associated with better mental health, less stress, better relations. You get less lonely when you get older. you abuse less alcohol. It's very beneficial for men to be more emotional. I don't think it's less man.
So
okay. Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to very briefly recap because again, I was not stating my opinion.
No.
It was based on the questions we received.
We definitely understood that, Peter. We don't
so, if I might, like to make it very brief, you would probably use data to communicate this and to provide examples of benefits for men. That would be like, because I think that the questions that we received, they were basically aiming to receive some this kind of maybe experience from Norway, or what worked best in from the communication sense. So
I would say that one thing is when you hear these types of attitudes, I think it's important to meet them with a non-judgmental way.
They come from a place where everyone wants to be a good parent. Everyone wants to be
So non-judgmental and just give them the facts.
Yes.
Okay. So
thank you. That was from the viewers' questions. As mentioned, the others were already answered. So this is it from me at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Okay, the last thing, probably the last statement from you. What would you say to Slovak men to motivate them to be fathers, to be good fathers, to make it real, the fatherhood, and so on? What would you say?
You're gonna regret it if you don't. Well,
like the father said in the video.
Like the father said, you're gonna regret it if you're not an important part and an active part of your children's lives. It will benefit you the whole life. Yeah.
Okay, so These were the words from our today's speakers, Mali Storbecken and Berit Egebö-Nas. Maybe the second time I will pronounce it better.
Pronunciation, thank you.
Definitely, thank you very much for your presentation, for your new impulses for us, and maybe next time we will discuss another interesting topic with you. And for today, have a good evening still, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.